day. You could have said something to me yesterday. People all right. I
I
got
left
the
it
hat on,
alone.
man. Look, I got the hat on. We getting ready to go live. I gotta bring the Instagram up on a Monday. Come on, Instagram. What are you doing here? All right. Instagram is now up. We are live. Hello, hello, hello. It's your boy, the Beast One. Welcome to another episode of Dad Mentality. This week we have one of our very favorite guests of all time. We got to put him in the Hall of Fame. It's retired Sergeant Garrett, now going by Mel Garrett, but he's still Sergeant Garrett to us. And we also have returning Phil from Streetline, brought also Ricky with him this week, so we can talk about the mental health and drug issues that's going in DC and just have a candid discussion about what's going on around us in the DMV area. And y'all know what it is. It is Dad Mentality.
What is that's mentality? What it is? The mentality of taking care of family. As a man, I get lonely. I can't even call my homies, but I answer every call when my kids call me. I'll be there when they need me. They depending on me. They looking up to me. Sometimes we gotta fix our mental. Or maybe it's not meant to be a dad, a father, that's what men do. I made a promise to my kids, that's what I do. I just want them to do things better than I do. Or better yet, better things that I did. What is, that's mentality. What it is, the mentality of taking care of family. As a man, I get lonely. I can't even call my homies, but I answer every call when my kids call me. I'll be there when they need me. They depending on me. They looking up to me. Welcome to the show, shout out to the coach. And Maddie Ice, Ice Cold Crypto. And each one, teach one. That's mentality, we just try and reach one. What is, that's mentality.
Hello, hello, hello. It's your boy, the Beast One. Welcome to Dad Mentality Podcast. Thank y'all for joining us again. And once again, as you know, I don't do this by myself. I got my man with me of 100 grand. We've known each other since we was 4 years old, playing in the sandbox. Now we up here doing this podcast, having a great time. Y'all know him as Coach, a.k.a. Vance Robbins. What's going on, Coach?
What's up, baby?
What's up?
How you doing today? All right, Coach wants everybody to know that Jordan Love did win this week because last week he was pissed off that the Giants didn't win. But okay, Jordan Love won. I got my hat on. It says Jordan Love's #1 fan. And you know, it is what it is. But since we're going to talk about something more positive and uplifting today. So let's get ready to get into it. I'm gonna go ahead and introduce these two fellas. These two fellas, y'all would know them. You know, Phil joined us talking about Streetline. He also brought his partner in, Ricky, who is also the founder of Streetline. And I want to thank you guys for joining us today. But it's Phil and Ricky. What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing today?
What's up, family? How y'all doing, man? Appreciate y'all having us here.
Yeah, I really appreciate you having us and looking forward to a great conversation.
Excellent. Nah, we definitely want to make sure we do have that. And also returning, it's the fan favorite. My sister has me text her every time he comes on the show. So I already text her and let her know. She'll probably be in the comments, but I told her he is happily married and we still waiting on a book, Coach. Ain't we waiting on a book? Ain't it been like, what has it been? 2, 3,
at least 2. My man
3
been
years
sitting on the couch for like 2.
Hey,
so y'all done invited me up here.
Like,
hold
talk all positive.
I gotta finish doing my first. Hold on, but you know, he told us. Yeah, he said when I retire, I'm really gonna spend time on my book.
Yeah,
and
ain't seen that book
you know,
yet.
yeah, we ain't even get a rough draft, nothing yet. But you know, he's still our favorite mental health therapist. He is mental health and a drug therapist. He also is, if I'm ever in a threatening situation and I need a negotiator, I want them to call my man, Sergeant Garrett, because I heard he's the best at getting people out safely. So, I don't know if that's true, but it sounds good because I just made it up. But anyway, the negotiation part is true. But anyway, it's our boy Jamel Garrett. How you doing, sir?
Hey, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Y'all don't give me too much smoke. Don't give me too much smoke.
It is what it is. Unfortunately, like his book, he's a Carolina Panthers fan, so there's no winning coming out anytime soon. So we don't gotta worry about that.
Look, that just means that I'm faithful. That's what that means. That means that I'm consistent.
Okay. All right. Also means you make bad decisions. I don't know if I want that in the therapy. But anyway, we're gonna get into this mental health talk. First, we're gonna do our mental health check-in, which we do every week, where we give a rating from 0 to 10 and talk about the things that are going on in our life. The great things that are going on in our life to make it to make it is what it is. And like I said before, mental health is very important to dad mentality. If you need to talk about your mental health, please, talk to your therapist, pastor, a friend, or they even call Street Line, right? Is the Street Line something we can call too, correct?
Correct. You can definitely call us. If we can't help you, we can refer you to someone that can.
Absolutely. So, we're going to go ahead and get into our mental health check-in. I'll go ahead and start it off first this week. And for me right now, I say I'm at about a strong 7.5, 8. I'm still living high off of my children and everything that's going on with them. I'm proud of my son who's in the Air Force, my daughter who's now enrolled at Towson University, doing great, and just excited about the next movement for them. I'm also excited. My youngest is, a great student athlete and just the things that's coming up next. So I say I'm about an 8, you know what I'm saying? Everything's been halfway decent with me right now. My job is cool, and everything in my relationship and my family is good. So I say I'm about an 8. I got a few more weeks. I'm celebrating my 25th wedding anniversary, and I will be going to Virginia Beach and just hanging out with some comic friends. So, if you want to come hang out with us October 3rd at the beach. We're going to be down there going to a comedy show. I was going to go skydiving, but my daughter's tuition and rent payment ate up my whole skydiving fund. So I'm still trying to lose the weight and get to that. But other than that, I say I'm a strong 8. Everything's good. Coach, where you at, brother?
Probably honestly at a 5 right now. So I got a lot of stuff going on. And truth be told, fellas, I'm gonna be straight up with you. That 5 is probably high for the last week. You know what I'm saying? I was down in the 1s and 2s, you know what I'm saying, throughout the week. You know what I'm saying? And just, you know what I'm saying, got some heavy weights right now on my back. You know what I mean? But, you know what I'm saying, God's grace is sufficient. He is definitely showing up when he needs to show up. And I'm fighting through some internal stuff and external stuff. So it's been a trying week, and I don't know I don't know. I'm in a storm, and I don't know which way the storm is taking me right now. So that's really what it is. You know what I mean? But I know that it's just a storm, and storms pass.
Yeah.
Either way. So that's kind of where I am.
Life is peaks and valleys, fellas. Peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're in the valley and you don't see how you're going to get out, but believe me, with God in your corner, you always make it out. You know what I'm saying? You always make it out. He didn't bring you here to leave you there. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's right.
So let's go ahead and go to Phil. Let's see where you feeling, Phil, from 0 to 10. How you feeling this week, and what are you looking forward to coming up this week?
Man, I'm gonna say I'm about a bouncy 6 to 7, man. I done started this weight loss journey, man, and now I know I got to do this for my health, but I ain't happy. I'm gonna let you know. I'm not happy. I'm miserable. I'm not miserable. My body don't feel good, man. I'm not at the mental place where I want to be. But like I said, I got to do this for me, man. So, it is what it is. They told me it was gonna hurt, and they didn't lie.
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely, man. Well, hey, you'll feel better once you lose that weight. I mean, I was
There
at
you
300.
go.
I was
That's what
at
they.
three
That's
hundred
what,
and 18, and now I'm down to 158. I mean, not
258. You damn
258.
sure ain't no
Sorry, my bad.
158. That's what
Yeah,
I'm
damn, you
I,
lost
saying,
two.
dog, sis.
sorry, 258. So
Okay, okay.
yeah, it was it's still a journey. Lady K Wellness got me working out with her, and I think she enjoys punishing me. So she be giggling when I'm in the joint struggling. But anyway, we're gonna keep it going. Ricky, where you at 0 to 10, and what you looking forward to, sir?
Well, I would say I'm a good 7 because there's a lot of things going on, even with the program, trying to get things uh, orchestrated so everybody can really feel what's happening with these programs. So I'm pretty much kind of moving and maybe a little stressing about it just a little bit, but I know that, as you said, and as anybody would know, that I look at it as God's program and he ain't gonna let it sit on no shelf,
There you
so
go.
I'm working with that, and you know as a soldier of his, I'm keep moving, keep marching.
Absolutely, I like that. I like that for sure. All right, Sergeant Garrett, how you feeling? Where you at 0 to 10, and what you looking forward to, sir?
Hey, good evening, gents. So I would give myself a solid 6.5, 7. Got a lot of things going on this way in the Garrett household, but a lot of it is good things. A lot of it is transition and change, that need to happen. Working with my oldest, who started his junior year in high school, so we're entering that phase where we're starting to look at colleges and what all that stuff is about. So got that working on. Wife's about to graduate, so it's going to be a transition
Congratulations.
for our families and stuff. So, but it's stressful. Change is not always easy and it's hard. Like the metamorphosis process is kind of stressful, but you bear and get through it so you can get to the other side. So that's where we are. It's funny. My wife and I, we celebrate our 20th anniversary on Saturday. So
All right,
looking
Congratulations.
forward.
congratulations.
Thank you. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to that.
Okay, excellent, excellent, man. I'm glad to hear that. Glad to hear that, man.
Yep.
So before we get started, I do want to give Ricky some time to talk about Streetline. I would love for you to tell me, how Streetline began, where did it start, and what is your goal? What is your main goal that you have for Streetline, and what's going, and how has it been received so far?
Okay, let's start with the first one. It began as a thought after we was hearing in DC about all these kids and babies getting shot on these corners, and uh, all this gunplay in our city. So it really began there when I felt that no one was talking to these youngsters out here. Um, I also happen to be a returning citizen, and I was concerned about. At one point, I was part of the problem. Now I want to be part of the solution. So, seeing that happening, I wondered why aren't anybody ever saying anything to these youngsters about the negative behavior that they're going through. So, moving on from that, when I returned to society again, I got with C. Sosa's faith-based program. C. Sosa runs parole and probation for the whole federal government. And I brought a program to them called Choices 3Rology, which is a behavior modification. I know a brother that's therapists would appreciate that. That I actually created when I was in, and it went really well with them. I did 3 pilots for them. They invited me to bid, but I was bidding against organizations like Sons Catholic Charity. It was just too big for me. I couldn't compete with those guys. So after that, I was also trained by them to be a mentor. So we know mentoring works. If we can get in our youngsters here and uh, develop a positive influence to them, then they can see these things. So, but the problem was we couldn't be on every corner, and so a lot of our youth and young adults were missing out. And so what I did as time went on, I thought about how can I reach more people. So I thought about all these other hotlines they had, like Suicide Hotline, Gamblers Anonymous, Alcohol Anonymous Hotline. And I thought, well, those are therapeutic issues, and I said, well, those people that hang out in these corners and storefronts and stairwells, that's actually a therapeutic issue as well, because the definition of addiction, it says substance and or activity. So, and that's an activity that's been going on for generations in our community. And I was looking at it just as that. Why aren't anybody looking at it from a therapeutic point of view? Why are these people hanging out on these corners, these stairwells and storefronts? What's drawing them to that? What's making them want to get to that point that they have to go out there searching for whatever they're looking for on a corner or on the stairwell or storefronts or etc. So as a mentor, I thought, well, how can I reach, a masses of these people? How can I reach them? So I said, well, why not create a hotline for them? No one's ever did that. This has never been done before. No one's ever researched it and looked at it in a therapeutic point of view, and no one ever gave them a voice, to be able to talk about things that drew them to corners and because we do realize that the corner never gives you anything; it only takes. The corner has never given you anything. It's either going to give you addiction to drugs, addiction to negative behavior, addiction to the graveyard. So, I wanted to be able to mentor these fellas or these females that were caught up in that atmosphere. So I created Streetline. Streetline is a call center hotline for those who hang out on these corners, stairwells, and storefronts. That they can have somewhere they can call and immediately get mentorship. Automatically, it's automatic. You're gonna automatically get something positive and let you know that you have purpose in life other than hanging out on these corners. So, but with that, we want to make sure that we riding with our people. Every time they make that phone call, they're gonna get some positive energy, and they don't have to wait till they're in a program or been sentenced by the courts to be assigned a mentor. All they have to do is make a phone call. So I'm hoping and praying that people can see how that network works and how we network with other networks like other organizations, nonprofits, clergy, that we are a source for them to be able to refer people to their organizations, so the people that, if we're not able to help them, we can refer them to people that can. And then we also have the underlying program, which is the behavior modification program, which is called Choices 3Rology. That's in Streetline as well. It's behavior modification / conflict resolution. What C. Sosa loved about it, is that it's not a lecture program. It was a program where I literally created a workbook, and understanding the mentality of most people that hang out on those corners, as I was one of them. I was able to, pretty much self-study that, and in that sardine can I was in for quite some time. And I put together that program so they could better themselves and understand how they got there, how understand the accountability they should take for themselves, and to understand how to help themselves. So that's where we're at right now. Of course, we're young. We're just starting to really get out there. I just need to put the message out there now. This is what I'm working on now, is advertising Streetline, letting people know that they have a place to call now. They never had that before, nowhere in the United States. So this is what we're doing now. This is what Streetline is all about. We're trying to reach our youth and young adults, and even some old heads that's still out there on these corners, that haven't really realized that they still have purpose in their life. And we want to make sure that they understand those things.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Sergeant Garrett, now hearing that philosophy and hearing what he's saying, is like, what is the I guess the corner mentality? Is that like something that is, is there like a name for that, or is that like something that is just normal for a lot of people? Or how do in your professional experience, what do you think about the corner mentality?
I mean, the best way I can describe the corner mentality probably tends to be poor socioeconomic conditions that um, cause a lot of trauma. And it's not that the trauma is caused by the people themselves. I mean, the people are doing it, but it's more so at least correlated with the poor socioeconomic conditions, the poor economic outcomes, the lack of opportunities that exist, lack of mentorship. So, man, this is a great program. Like I was listening to you hear it, and I'm like perking up. I'm like, man, this can help so many people, especially our young men, um, to let them know that the world is at least bigger than what they see. It's bigger than
Yes,
that corner
Lord.
that they sit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I definitely feel it. Now, Phil, how'd you, when you got into this, what was the reason why you got into Streetline and you also joined with Ricky for this for this great cause?
Well, B says, I'm a stand-up comedian. And I done wore a lot of hats, man. I'm a stand-up comedian. I was a software engineer for 30 years, but I was a dope fiend and a crackhead for a lot longer. So, you know, I know what it is to be out on the streets. I know what it is, but I got caught up with Ricky because, I had been going around the country doing gun violence shows, doing comedy shows to combat gun violence. And the way I got hooked up with Ricky was um, when I did these shows, I needed an organization to donate the money to. And that's how I hooked up with Ricky. And I've been rolling with him ever since.
Okay. All right. All right. Coach, did you have anything you want to add? I mean, I'll go real quick before, for me, I mean, I'm not going to say I grew up as a, staying on the corners and this, that, and the other, but I mean, I have seen throughout my adult and childhood life, a lot of these corners in the DMV area, a lot of things that have happened. And for me, I think it definitely is a lot of people don't know anything else. Like it's like the to me, it's kind of been, especially in certain neighborhoods, it's kind of been normalized where like it's the normal thing to do. Like, what do you mean?
Right.
People don't know that it's not normal or that they have other options. A lot of people think that this is my only option. I got three options. It's the corner, a field or playground, basketball, whatever, or I'm a rapper. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these kids nowadays, that's the main three things they think they can be. You know, it's not ambitious to be a software engineer or even an accountant or electrician. You know, my options are either I got to be good at sports or good at music or good at dispensing drugs on the corner. You know what I'm saying? Those are my only ways out. You know, the way that I guess the world shows it is that, you know, those are your only options. And I mean, you know, Ricky, is that something that you experience, that you also experience in the corner, or you think people
Uh,
the same thing?
yeah. Let me give you a little bit of that corner mentality. You feel on those corners that you accepted, that you feel like you respected. You feel like you somebody on that corner because these people know you. They all on the same boat. It's sort of like that misery love company thing. And so you feel like, you know, it's a place that makes you comfortable, although you don't realize that you actually been traumatized to actually get to that point. You know, I don't know what the like as the brother therapist said, economically, you feel that I ain't got it like that. I gotta find fast money. I gotta, get it as quick as I can, because this is a capitalist society. So we think that we have to get that finance, to try to live comfortable, and also to be accepted. We've been commercialized. There's a big debriefing that has to go on with our youth and young adults, through social media, through these B movies, through certain rap songs, things like that, to let them understand that, educating yourself and understanding who you are and what your purpose is will get you over. But being these commercials that tell you you have to have this kind of gear on, that kind of gear on, but you can't afford this gear. Yeah, but you think that if I got fast money and get this there, I can have the fast cars, the fast women, and on and on. So we've been indoctrinated like that through commercialism and things like that. So there's a debriefing, just as those come out the service that had to learn how to kill, they had to get debriefed to come back to society, as the doctor would tell you there. Also, so it's the same thing with our youth and young adults. There's a debriefing that has to go on in their lives, and the quickest way that I can see that we can at least start the process of it is mentoring them, letting them know that that corner is not it. That corner is an illusion. It's built to make you think that you're getting something sweet, but you're never getting nothing. You're getting nothing sweet. At the end of the day, you're gonna get cracked. Now you tell me what drug dealer ever got away. You tell me one. I never knew one. And I've never heard of one. I don't care how big they are, what kind of cocktail they have. When they want you, they get it. And then we got to start letting them know that, that's not the way to go. Education is the key. And we have to let them know that. And we have to get them to understand that, although it's not something that's going to put the Gucci belt on or the little fly gear or your $500 tennis shoes on or nothing like that, at least not yet. And we got to get our youth and young adults back off that mindset that it's the clothes that make the man and not the man that makes the clothes. We got to let them know that it's the man that make the clothes, not the clothes that make the man. So we got to we got to wake them up. And that's what I feel my duty and my job was ordained to me, was to do that, to educate them, to get them understanding that there's a better way. Everybody don't want to be on that corner. So if we can, out of the 10 that's on the corner, if we can reach 2, that's 2 that we done stopped from going to jail, catching violent crime. You know, that's two that we didn't help. So, and I'm about, like I said, I try to partner up with everybody, so they'll know that if as a conglomerate, instead of, and I always mention this wherever I am, there is no big I's and little U's in street line, meaning that if I can't help you, there is someone that can. And we want to make sure we partner up with these people. Don't play like big because you got your organization makes $1 million a year, and mine makes $10 a year. You know what I'm saying? Work with us, and that's what I'm asking people now. Work with me. Let me know. Get us out there so we can help each other, and if we help each other, how many more can we help if we work together? And that's where I'm at with this.
Yeah, Brother Ricky, I love what you said about how your organization works to help these young people, particularly young men and boys, basically feel accepted because that's what one of the things the corner does for them. Like
Right.
we got to be honest. Like if it didn't do something where they got some kind of benefit, they wouldn't do it. It's giving them a benefit, and one of that benefit is acceptance, is
Yep.
connection,
Yep.
is
That's right.
association. And so what you're doing is you're still giving them that, but you're doing it in what we call a healthy adaptive way that's going to teach them and give them skills to be healthy in the society that we live in, and hell, even change the society that we live in. Because there's so much, and I'm sure you've seen this. I've seen this in the treatment center that I work at. There is so much talent. There's so much raw
Yes.
talent
Yes.
that is
Yes.
there that it just needs to be shaped, molded, cultivated.
And I saw
Those
that,
people can do anything.
in that system I was in. There was so much talent. These dudes could paint,
Yeah.
they could sing,
Yep.
man, you wouldn't believe the talent that was I mean, these things they could make what's the thing with the Japanese things, the little paper things they make.
Origami.
Origami,
Yeah.
yeah.
Man, they could do some things with these little items of paper and cigarette packs and oh man, it was crazy that all that talent was being wasted. But if they
Mhm.
done knew talk to someone or had someone to talk to before they got into that situation and developed that talent, these would be a lot of rich people out here without going through that craziness. Um, so that's what I want to let them see. I want to let them see they have a purpose. All they got to do is let it loose, but let it loose in the right place. Don't wait till you get caught up in this system, you know, when you can be educated to the point where you understand that your abilities, your capabilities, we want you to understand these things. We understand that the purpose that you have in life is right there. It's a God given. And all you got to do is develop it. And we want you to develop before you get into a state where you're caught up in a system that's going to take all of it away from you. And that's what Streetline is doing, man. I'm saying my biggest problem now is marketing. I got to let people know that they have a place to call. And it's hard. Everybody loves the program. Everybody tells me how much they love it, but nobody's showing me how to get it, running smoothly. And that's where I'm having my biggest headache at. How do I get it running smooth? How do I get these grants? I'm not a businessman. I'm a facilitator. I'm that guy that can tell you how to motivate yourself and get you out there and get you ready for the world. That's what I built to do. That's my forte. I need these volunteers that know business, that know how to make things grow, that we can get this a message out there to people. So I'm hoping, that every platform that I'm on, that I want them to understand. Again, there is no big I's and little U's in Streetline. We want to help and work with everybody so we can help everybody.
Okay.
Peace.
Coach,
Can I say something real
go ahead.
quick though?
Yeah, Phil, go ahead.
And, and one thing about us, we want to push this shit off as being somebody else's problem. Okay. And I call these people the hidden society. You walk by them every day, you clutch your purse, you roll up your windows, you do this, that, and the other. But I mean, and nobody wants to get hurt. But at some point, you gotta get involved, man. You ain't gotta be out there talking to them on the corner. Volunteer. If it's not with Streetline, volunteer with some other organization that's trying to help these kids, man. You know, we say we our brother's keeper. You damn right. We are our brother's keeper. Ain't nobody coming to help us if we don't help ourselves. It's as simple as that. Talk to your kids. Talk to your kids' friends. I mean, we want to be in a place where Streetline is not needed. Man, you want to be able to nip this in the bud, man. I talk to my son, man. I talk to my son's friends, you know, and they don't always do what I say, but at least I got a bug in their ear, man. And a lot of these kids ain't got that. So, you know, sometimes it just helps to know somebody cares. So
Right, right.
that's all.
Yeah.
That's why I said our main thing is mentoring. So, we want to make sure that those kids, have somebody they can talk to. Not just kids. I'm telling you, it's adults that's like that too. That they need just somebody to talk to sometimes. As the brother therapist understand, I'm sure he understands that point, that some people just need somebody to say, I care, man.
Right.
That you got somebody that want to push you forward, man. That want to make you that you in a positive direction. Some people just want to hear those things. And that's what one of the things Streetline is built on, is the fact that we want to give you that voice that you can, talk to somebody, that you can say without being judged for. That's one of the main things. You're not going to be judged. This is a totally confidential conversation. It has nothing to do with law enforcement. It has nothing to do with anything other than one person talking to another person that's not judging them, that's getting positive information to them. That's all it is, and it's a simple concept, but it's a needed concept.
Yeah, absolutely. And in the work that I do, I can't tell you how many times just having somebody sitting across from me and them sharing with me, and I'm able to just say, I see you. Like, I see
Right.
your struggle. I see what you're going through. I see the stress that is on you. I see how hard you are working to not be impacted in a negative way. Like, to say that alleviates just a lot of stress that people have oftentimes, and it helps build connection. I'm sure like the vast majority of the people that you're dealing with are probably they're men, boys and men, because I think you just you gotta face it. We struggling the most statistically. If you look at the addiction
You'd
rates,
be
suicide
surprised.
rates,
There's girls out there too. You'd really be surprised. There's girls out there too.
is it okay? Because I know there
Yeah.
is some. I
Yeah.
know, like I know we see it some, but where I work, I'd probably say about 40% of our population is female. The other 60% is male.
Well, I agree with you that most of the struggles are with male youth and young adults, but there are a lot of females that's confused about their role in the world too. So, fortunately, I do have female operators that I actually train myself, and you know, to be able to, and a female can reach a female better than a male can, but we're still here for them as well. Uh, but yeah, there's a lot of directions that has to be talked about to our youth and young adults about how to navigate that male and female relationship. Um, a lot of them don't even know how to navigate it. I mean, when your female starts to accept the fact that she's been she for her being called a bitch and she is accepting of that, then there's a problem. Where's the respect issue again? Where's the virtues? Where are your morals? Where's the principles? And a male that calls his female a bitch, where's your respect for the female, your mother, your grandmother, your sister? Where this respect issue comes? Where have you lost that from? And this is what we want to enlighten them back to: is the fact that you have to respect your fellow human being, period, whether male or female.
Well, the problem is in society they've normalized bitch. They've normalized it to where women are walking around be like, hey, hey bitch, hey this, hey that, and disrespecting each other, and it's considered like some form of happiness or whatever the case may be. Like I said, it's normalized. And then the other thing for men is that unfortunately, in our childhood, some people have been raised in a household where
Yep.
they thought that bitch meant, mom. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what they heard in their household so many times. It's been, like I said, a lot of these things have been normalized to the point that people don't know that they're not normal. Hey, Coach, I know you haven't said. Did you want to get in and say anything real quick? Did you have anything to,
Nah, I mean,
add?
I was back to, what I'm saying, product of environment and exposure and all of that stuff. I mean, I didn't grow up in the streets. I got in your typical neighborhood fight, stuff like that. But you know what I'm saying, I wasn't on no corner, anything like that. But my eyes were really open. I stayed in Baltimore for 7 years, I think it was, roughly about six and a half, seven. And I stayed in some rough parts of Baltimore up there, and it's amazing that um I remember I used to walk to the store at night, right? So, and I'm talking, hey, I'm hungry. I'm gonna walk down to the 7-Eleven. It's 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. People used to tell me stop doing that, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? But in all honesty, I wasn't scared of the streets, and the streets wasn't scared of me. But it was really about respect for the kids on the corner, right? And it's about, what I'm saying, showing that you don't have the fear, and then showing them who you truly are, right? You know what I'm saying? If you cared about a kid, if I saw a kid struggling or whatever, I asked him if he was hungry. You know what I mean? And if he say no, he pop off in the mouth, he do whatever he do, but I just keep walking. And once they saw that I had no fear, then they started to wonder who is this random guy from Prince George's County, because I ain't from DC, but from PG County, just walking around here like it's all sweet. And once you start talking to them, now other doors open up. You know what I mean? And they start seeing positive individuals. They aren't scared of them. That, hey, they're in the same neighborhoods as them, but they're not doing the same stuff. They're doing other things. And it's crazy how well you'll be accepted when you show that type of love and that type of care about a lot of these folks that are out here on the corners and think that there are no other options. And I'm talking about, I ain't talking about, what I'm saying, just a random block by a high school or whatever else, or a college. I'm talking about the heart of Baltimore City,
North
Wilding,
Avenue.
huh? North Avenue, Greenmount
North
Avenue,
Avenue.
Park Heights, all of
Yep.
that stuff. I'm talking about real deal streets. And it's crazy that people don't even, we don't, back to the next point, it's crazy that we don't even try to repair it, right? Because they want to be repaired. You know what I mean? They actually want, they don't want to be there. They are there because that's the only people that are reaching them,
Well,
right?
and
So,
and part of that comes to how whenever we quote make it, we get quote out of the hood, right? We don't
hmm
bring the hood with us. We get
nope.
quote out of the hood. So that's
hmm
what it is. Like we've officially made it when we escape the trap, when we get away from it. There's
Yep.
not this societal push for us to, as I was taught in the military, pull as you climb. As I go up, bring somebody else with you behind you. Show them the way.
Right.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
and
totally agree. And when you start doing that, one, they actually respect you more than the product of their environment.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You know how many times I came back around some of those neighborhoods after I moved? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I remember one time, funny story. I had a really good friend of mine from down here. I mean, he went to college with me up there, so he knew the area. We went up there about, I say, one in the morning. We was just passing through the city. We was actually going to New York, and I pulled right over there off of Green Mountain Wabash, and I'm bumping flat out go go music. I think it was Junkyard Band or something. And I'm in the heart of Baltimore. I'm talking about the heart of Baltimore. The block is wide open. It's the middle of the summer. So everybody's still outside. I'm talking about little kids, big kids, everything. I literally get out the car to go see my man. Left my keys in the car running, go-go music pumping, and literally all they said was, "What's up, PG? How you doing?" My man is sitting in the car completely shook. Like, what is he's like, yo, I don't know what you doing out there, but we ain't in the neighborhood for this. Like, and I said, nah. And it wasn't they know what's up. It was they know who I am. They know I ain't coming around here to disrupt nothing. They know that I'll come around. I do the same thing when I come around there and sit on the front porch with them and talk with them, right? In the afternoon. Like I said, we gotta kind of get ourselves, the positive folk, into these corners. And that's the key to it. Yep. So that's what I got.
All right.
Can I ask a third person question real quick that's on my mind?
Go ahead,
This be
Steve.
Yeah.
all right. Check this out, man. And maybe it's just me overthinking. What do you think about all the weed these kids are smoking now?
I am
Because
so glad you brought that up.
oh
Woo!
my,
I've been
because
waiting
I
for it.
see them being our future dope fiends.
Look, marijuana. First of all, marijuana that is out now. It ain't the marijuana that was out 30
Well,
years
we,
ago.
yeah.
It's different. It is not the same one. And not to mention, anything that you getting off the street, I'd say got a good 60% chance or more of having fentanyl in it.
Right.
So you don't know what you're getting. But this is the big thing, and I deal with this where I work. So I work at a addiction treatment center, and it's dual diagnosis for both mental health diagnosis and addiction, but primary focus is addiction. And I can't tell you how many 18, 19-year-old young men that I see who are having symptoms of schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder, some
Exactly.
a heavy psychotic type of mental health type diagnosis because of the marijuana they've been smoking since they was 12,
Yep.
13, 14
Exactly.
years old. There is a high correlation. There's been a lot of scholarly articles in medical journals written about the correlation between cannabis and psychotic disorders and psychotic features like schizoaffective disorder and schizophrenia. High correlation to it. So it is a lot of people say, oh, weed is safer than alcohol. In some ways, it is. In some ways, but the way it impacts the developing mind, don't nobody under the age, my opinion, nobody under the age of 21 need to be smoking any marijuana because of the way it impacts the brain. It is not worth it.
Okay. All right. Phil, that
Yeah.
answer your question, sir?
Yeah, for the most part, my thing is I see marijuana as a gateway drug. I mean, they smoking weed now. What are they gonna be
Hmm.
at 16, 17 years? What are they gonna be doing at 21, 22?
Oh yeah.
That's how I started. I started smoking weed, and then by the time I got 21, I was doing hard drugs.
So pretty much any drug is a gateway drug. So from a
But
little bit
any
of drug.
drug is not accepted like weed is.
Right, or alcohol. I would say
Yeah,
alcohol is a gateway drug as well. And this is not me saying that weed is better than alcohol. I'm not saying that at all. But overall, what I'm saying is anything that is used as a way of altering your mood,
right.
numbing, avoiding, or coping with anything, relieving pain or anything like that, it has the it has the risk of being overly used. And when you start down that road of outsourcing, particularly your emotions, outsourcing your emotions with drugs
Right.
means I'm not dealing with life on life's terms. I'm stressed out, so I
Exactly.
use something outside of me to regulate how I feel inside of me. So anytime you go down that road, oh yeah, you were setting yourself up to use higher drugs, because if you keep on, eventually the drug that you may or may not be
Your
using might not
tolerance
get
is
it
gonna
done
get
for you.
too high. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had
So when I wanted to say this in comparison with that. Um, I was looking at the what this, and I don't want to. I don't believe it's political, but as a citizen, when you're talking about the drug use they usually start anywhere from 10 on up, especially in the households now. Um, and in my understanding, when you're trying to turn a 14-year-old whose mind, I'm sure the brother therapist can give you maybe a more thing about the development of the mind and brain. When you got kids, smoking is starting at say 10 years old, and their brain is not totally developed yet. And then at 14, they doing these uh, horrendous crimes. A lot of them are. And when it comes to that, are we um, when they're talking about taking away their childhood, and charging them as adults, and that's that, and locking them up forever. You know, um, I'm looking at it as a mass genocide because their brains haven't even been developed. What my studies are is, until you're like 16 years old, and you got a brain that's being warped by the use of uh, any drugs, not just marijuana. The ecstasies and all those other little particulars that they have out there now. You know, um,
Oh yeah, because you're
I'm trying to
so
figure out how do people justify developed brain that's been confused, and then just the answer to for them is to just lock them up and throw away the key. That to
well,
me, that's a genocide project because it's happening more so in our black and brown neighborhoods.
oh yeah. I
You
mean,
know?
if you historically, that's exactly what the war on drugs was for. You talk to, I mean, a little bit. I'm a little bit of a history nerd, but you look at I can't think. Richard Nixon's chief of staff, he gave away the game. You can Google it, like Richard Nixon's chief of staff. He tells you the reason why they went after marijuana was because the people who they didn't like were more likely to use marijuana. So it wasn't to get drugs off the street, it was to target certain people. You look at the history of the crack epidemic and the way the laws were written with your with the the different classes of cocaine. Within the crack form, you got 10 extra years, and then the powder form, well, who was more likely to use the rock form? The poor, the black, and the brown community.
right.
And so yeah, it's been a kind of a targeted thing for the better part of the past 50 years. But I gotta say something. I saw someone put it in the comments. Your brain's not fully developed for men, for boys and men. Our brain is not fully developed until we are about the age of 25 to 26. For women, they develop a little bit quicker than us. They're about 23, 24. So anything that you use before, especially something that is highly psychedelic in its use, anything that is a really powerful stimulant, or anything that is like just a really powerful drug that is known to affect the pleasure reward system of the brain, like the dopamine system of the brain. Yeah, looking at significant cognitive impacts, and oftentimes you won't even see those impacts until a little bit later, till they're in their late teens and 20s, if they started smoking or using at that young particular age. Poor impulse control is associated with early drug use. cognitive impairment to where their ability to process information and learn and process new things is impaired. Um, in some cases, their risk of dementia goes up. Um,
Mm.
so there's a lot of negative impacts with drug use. But you got to look at, and one thing you said earlier, the culture and the socialization. How are these young people socialized? Well, they're socialized by seeing the adults around them use these drugs. They're socialized by hearing about it in the media that they consume, whether it be music or TV or something like that, and it becomes kind of a glorified thing. But no one talks about the risks of it. It's just, hey, this is fun to do because, again, from the perspective of that child, all children need two basic things for their development. They need attachment and authenticity. They're looking to do the thing that they think will help them attach to other people, to their caregivers, to their friends, to their loved ones. And that's why you see the fixation with looking cool, dressing cool, getting that money, all of that stuff. Is basically a way of forming that attachment to other people and to try and get that acceptance.
Okay. All right. Sorry, hold on. Let me just try to mute real quick. But nah. So my next question is I don't know if Phil, did you have another follow up question? Are you good?
Nah, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. My next question is really going to be towards well, start off with Ricky and Phil, and that is the mental health situation you see out in the world or through street line. Because my question is like, and I do want to add this too. So, because for my job now, I work with a lot of young men, and marijuana is like
Oh my God.
all of them smoke, and it's crazy to me because I had that conversation with them. I'm like, yo, y'all, every morning after in between every job.
Yep.
And then at the end of the day, I'm like, yo, y'all are functioning. Y'all are, you know, basically the whole day high and are functioning, and y'all think it's normal. Like
Exactly.
and y'all think it's just is cool. As soon as I meet up with them 8 o'clock in the morning, and all of them are rolling up and getting ready to smoke before the job gets started, and then throughout the job they take breaks or whatever the case may be, but they all function very well. And I'm just like, yo, I can't understand it, because I don't smoke like that, and but I just don't understand how but it's just been normalized. I talked to the one guy and he was like, "Yeah, man, I've been smoking since I was 14. Like I don't, I don't know any other way, to make it." So when you get to that point where you're smoking every day, all day, Sergeant Garrett, is that addiction or is that just your body is doesn't know how or you don't know how to function? I guess because of
So
it.
I would say that's addiction. So a good
Yes,
way
it
of
is.
looking at a good way of telling if you have an addiction to something, whether it be drugs or whether it be a behavior, to include a cell phone, because a lot of us walking around with cell phone addictions. You have to answer these three basic questions, right? The answer to these three questions is yes, you're dealing with an addiction at a clinical level. The DSM-5 or the Diagnostic and Statistics Manual, it doesn't have a diagnosis for addiction per se, but it has um, the particular drug you're addicted to. But all of the criteria can be boiled down into roughly three different things. Do I feel compelled to do the thing? So a compulsion is where I just randomly, like, I have a craving or an urge to do it. Do I have that compulsion to do the thing, whether it be smoking weed or playing video games or gambling? Next question. Um, do I struggle to stop if I want it? Like if I say, you know what, I ain't gonna smoke today. Well, guess what? I wound up smoking today. Yeah, you're struggling to give it up. So that's if that's yes, then that's you go on to number three, and then number three. Is this causing me negative consequences in my life? Is it affecting my relationships? Is it affecting my ability to show up for the people I love or show up for the things I'm supposed to do? Am I missing a lot of activities because of it? Am I failing to meet some of my major obligations because of it? If the answer is yes to all three of those, you got an addiction.
You got an addiction.
You got an addiction.
All
Yeah.
right.
And it
And
could
what?
be as simple it could be as simple as, man, I keep showing up for work late because I'm smoking. Yeah. That's a negative quality of life impact right there.
Okay. All right. And so so the fellas on the street, what do y'all see as far as as far as that lifestyle? I mean, we're talking about marijuana, so
They're addicted. They're addicts.
okay.
In the short term, yeah, but it's again, it's I think it's culturally because this has hadn't been going on. This has been going on for generations. This is
Yeah.
not something new. Whether it was alcohol or whether I remember the old heads to me, was talking about dollar caps, and that was the dollar cap dope that they was on. So this addictive behavior, for those who were, feeling or even traumatized or feeling that they had nothing better to do with their lives because of the situations that society has built for them, I think it was designed, and it's been keeping us down as a people and as um for the longest terms, because it's been generational and you don't know how to escape it. And the only way to escape it is to understand what's going on with you, and that's where, our therapists come in to play, where people need to understand that, there's another lifestyle than just being feeling sorry for yourself and thinking that you can escape reality. So it's bigger than they just brought some new drug out, or it's the mindset that I see on the street that I feel like I'm cool now because I'm doing this. I feel like it makes me feel mellow, and I'm same way alcohol, I guess, affect people too. And they just feel like they want to escape. And the hardship that the brother was talking about. Um, the brother Sergeant was talking about the economics and things. You just a lot of us feel like I can't, I'm not making it. I can't make it. I ain't getting enough money to do this and do that. I'm a failure. So it's designed for them to be caught up in something. And our thing is to educate our young people. And now we have to educate them, let them know, there's other way to get over that, to get that, what is that, endorphin feeling? There's other way, the pleasure of having somebody showing you some love, to get that feeling instead of a drug or alcohol. You know what I'm saying? They have to have another way to look at things, and no one's giving that way to them. No one's explaining to them that that there are other ways to find that pleasure. Find that pleasure in the art that you do. Find that pleasure in the athletics that you do. It's many other ways to find that pleasure, but they're not being taught that. And they've taken away the skill sets of people with vocational schools away from everybody's not college bound. So they don't know the pleasure of working on a motor or learning how to lay bricks, the architecture part of it. All these things are pleasurable, but they don't realize that they exist because nobody's told them anything.
Garrett.
I
Okay.
mean, it's hard though because I
That's the
started
easy
smoking
way
weed.
out.
I started smoking weed when I was 12 years old, man. And I remember this is clear as day. A lady told me about when I was around 15 years old that I was an addict. Man, I told that lady, "You crazy as hell." My idea was an addict was a nigga out there shooting dope, dude out there doing crack, smoking love boat, all the things I did 5 years later. Okay. So, you know, it's a progression, man. It's a progression.
Well, let me
So,
ask you this, Bill. Let me ask you something. Now that you do comedy, is that
uh-huh.
pleasurable? Is that pleasurable for you?
It's pleasurable. Yeah, it is.
Do
I
you
mean,
feel
you
good
find
about that?
pleasure in
You
different
do
things,
you feel
man.
good? You feel good about making people laugh and enjoying themselves. Is that a pleasurable feeling for you?
It is, but let me tell you how I live my life, man. I came up through 12-step programs. So I don't get too high about anything. I don't get too low about anything. I monitor the way my mood is, you know.
You
So
had to learn that, right? You had to
I
learn that
learned
part.
that. Right.
Okay, and this is what I'm saying, and what I'm trying to say. I'm not all that great a speaker or nothing like that, and I ain't highly educated, but I know what I know. So
But ain't nothing wrong with that. You
so
know
what I'm
enough.
saying,
You know enough.
uh,
Ain't nothing wrong with
yeah,
that.
There
yeah,
you go.
it's a learned behavior that pleasure can be given to you without the use of a substance of any kind. But if you don't know that, if you didn't learn that, you would have never stopped using. But
Yeah.
you found out that I can get pleasure out of making people laugh. I can
Well,
get
I
I
pleasure,
ain't find that ain't why
out
I
of
stopped using,
telling
but
jokes. You
yeah.
know what
I
I'm
think
saying?
that ain't why I stopped using, but okay.
yeah. You got to be.
That ain't why I stopped.
Yeah. You got to help
No,
people make the
I'm just
difference
saying that
between
you can find pleasure other than trying to escape reality.
Right.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, so there's pleasure and then there's happiness, right? A lot of
Mm.
times, a lot of people that I work with, we confuse the two. We think that
Right.
in seeking
Right.
pleasure is making me happy. Well, those are two separate things. They're not one
Mm.
and the same. In fact, one of the things I tell my patients and clients is pleasure seeking leads to bondage because pleasure seeking will lead you to so many behaviors where you now become a slave to that behavior and you have now created so many negative circumstances in your life that are causing you hardships. um, think about people who can't really keep it in their pants and now they got three, four, five different child support payments they got to make. So when you constantly seek pleasure in the pursuit of happiness, you actually are making yourself more miserable. You're doing the opposite of happiness, whereas happiness is more associated with having a purpose, living within that purpose, fulfilling that purpose. How strong are your connections with other people? How meaningful is the life that you're living? And with a lot of people who use drugs, the drugs are just an escape. Pleasure is an
Right.
escape. It
Yeah.
becomes
Symptom.
yeah, it becomes a symptom. I like to think of addiction as one of the people in the field. He's a Canadian psychiatrist. His name is Gabor Mate. He has a definition of addiction being a failed attempt to solve a problem that creates more problems. And I just found that to be so true and relevant.
Mm.
But that's
And
why so many people that stop using drugs, they move on to other addictions. They go
Hmm.
to eating addictions. They go to sex addictions. They go to
Hmm.
all kinds of other addictions. But what hasn't happened is they haven't dealt with the root cause of why they used.
Hmm.
So,
all right, so hearing that the drugs and all the stuff in the corner, what would be the if you had to take this Sergeant Garrett and try to help it medically, what would be the steps you would take to try to help all these kids and things out there towards you know choosing a different life? How would you go about that medically?
I would do exactly what Brother Ricky is doing, helping them build connection and allowing that connection to help them build a life of purpose. while at the same time treating any residual type of and it gets tricky with it's called MAT, medicated assisted treatment, which by the way I got to put this out there. I'm not a prescriber, so I'm just throwing it out there. It's not my swim lane. I'm just going by what I know and what I've seen in the past, but I'm not a prescriber, so I can't prescribe anything, so just throwing that out there. But it gets tricky with MAT, so you want to use the lowest dose of stuff that's possible to, especially for opiate-based drugs to reduce that addiction. But simultaneously, you also want to make sure you are giving people or helping people find their purpose and purpose and connection, having that purpose and connection in their lives. Because what you'll find is if you have that, you will have
Right.
less of an urge to use any substance.
Exactly.
Huh? All right, all right. That sounds like a great idea. On that, I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up. We're gonna get ready, get into our reels, fellas. I want to thank y'all for Ricky for coming to talk to Phil. If you
Thank you.
please hang around and join us in these reels. I do have some reels that are talking about mental health and just some other things. Definitely mental health in men and things like that. We're just gonna give a quick comment on it, and then I would love for y'all to stick around. Now, I don't know if y'all gamble, but we do what we would call our 5 terrible picks. So we're gonna take the football. I'm gonna put $20 on the terrible picks, and y'all get to pick what those terrible picks are. So, hopefully because y'all are here, we don't have to listen to Coach. And this week I might actually win. So that'll be the goal of that. But I'm gonna pull up these the reels that I have, and we'll just have a conversation, go around the room and discuss it and what you think about it, and we will go from there. Let's get it pulled up real quick. All right, y'all ready? Here we go.
I'm not good. I haven't been good. The truth is, for a while now, I feel like I've been stuck in a dark place. I can't remember feeling happy. No one really hears me, you know? I'm good. Yeah, things are good. How have you been?
All right, so that reel is about a gentleman who, and I mean, I felt this way sometimes in my life where I can't really open up, and I don't know why it's a thing that I feel that men do, especially in our culture, that when they're not feeling good, they don't feel the safety and the compassion to open up and express what's really going on. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to see if what do y'all think about that? And hopefully Sergeant Garrett maybe give us some clarity on to why we do that. So I'll go ahead and start with Ricky. What'd you think about that? And is that something you see out there a lot, or?
Well, I barely heard it because it was kind of low. So if you can give me a little bit insight on it again, so I can elaborate.
So basically, he's out with his woman, and she asked him how he's doing, and in the inside, he's not doing well. He's in a dark place. He's in this thing, but he just ends up telling her, "I'm good." And
Okay, I get it.
It symbolized how us as men don't really share our feelings with other people. We just say we're good and keep it moving.
Okay, I get that. I was just in a men's group, all men, and we was discussing just that issue. And it was basically the conclusion that men has that Superman syndrome. And I think our brother therapist can relate to that. Is that we think that we can get over anything at any time because we're built to take anything. We don't want to feel vulnerable to anybody. So I think for us, we're afraid to express emotions. And this is what I got out the group. Is that most of us, are felt as leaders. So as a leader, we feel compelled to take on all the weight of everything and never express what we really feel about and how we feel about things. So yeah, you see that ex- extremely on the streets. It's either I'm gonna be the tough guy. I can't show that I have this weakness for whatever it may be. I can't show that. I gotta stay tough, or I'll feel vulnerable to the rest of the people. That's what I see out
All right, Phil.
Yeah, well, that's really prevalent in our black community among our men. But I mean, I've been clean 32 years, so I'm not falling into those traps. I'm only as sick as my secrets. So,
Hmm.
if I gotta, feel vulnerable, I'm gonna do it, man, for real. You know, because I don't know what's gonna take me back out, and once I get it out, it's not my problem. It's yours. So I'm good.
All right. Sergeant Garrett, what you think about that?
Phil, I can tell you in the AA community, I'm as sick as my secrets.
Yes,
That is
Lord.
that the AA and NA community, that is a 12-step saying, definitely. Um, Social conditioning. We've been as men, we're conditioned and we're socialized to not show weakness. One of the worst things that you can tell a little boy or a young man is that he's soft, or he's a punk, or or you feminize him. Stop acting like a girl, stop acting like something else. So um we have been conditioned to not share those emotions. But here's the thing: we express emotions, we just don't always associate them with emotions. Anger is an emotion. Anger is a feeling. We feel it. And I do an exercise with some of my patients sometimes. They'll like to say, "Oh, women are emotional." I was like, I don't know, man. Women are emotional. They may act catty towards you at work, or you might have a little passive aggressive thing said about you in a meeting. But let somebody snap on your fresh pair of J's. Let
Hmm.
those be the retro 13s. Those are my favorite ones. The 13s. Smudge on them. People have been shot over that. And you tell me who's more emotional. And so we oftentimes don't view anger as an emotion, but it's all rooted in fear of shame, shameophobia, if you will. If I'm afraid of shaming feelings, or being shamed, especially by other men, yeah, I'm gonna say everything's fine. I'm good. I don't have any weaknesses. There's no chink in this armor. I'm good. But at the same time, I'm suffering on the inside.
Okay.
there.
All right. Coach, did you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, man. I agree with everybody. I think it's interesting when you start talking about like hiding who you are, right? And it goes directly to, you know what I'm saying, Sergeant Garrett and what he said. It starts at the childhood level, right? And you learn and or are taught to mask it. It's funny because just in my therapy session a couple days ago, one thing that I had to learn about myself is that I can be very emotional and talk very, very calm. And it was something that I had to recognize about myself, because if my voice was animated, I was wild, and I could recognize that I am upset, I am getting emotional and everything. But I ended up talking through some things with him, and even talking through it with him, yes, my voice calmed, but mentally I was still triggered and still very, very emotional. And so a lot of men in this world don't understand that they're even going through an emotion
Right.
Hmm.
when they're going through it. It's not until it builds up that they actually recognize that, oh my God, there's an emotion there. So that's what I gotta say.
Okay. All right. I just want to read a couple things here. Louisa said, Anger is usually the tip of the iceberg. Underneath is usually pain, fear, disappointment, loneliness, not being understood. And
Shame, regret. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. So, all right, we're gonna go ahead and do one more clip. This clip, I definitely wanted to get Sergeant Garrett's opinion on this clip because, I'm just gonna talk about it a little bit because I'm trying to figure out when this clip, what she's saying, is this something just to cover up or change the narrative, or is this something really that people feel is going on, right? Or coach and even Sergeant Garrett. But I'm gonna let us go first and let him finish it up. But here we go. And
exactly sure how it's happened, but I'll give you my take on it, right? We've never talked about mental health more before, yet somehow we've become weaker because instead of building emotional strength, we've built a culture that rewards emotional fragility. We've made it normal to break down over minor inconveniences. We've convinced people that if something makes them uncomfortable, it must be harmful. We've created a world where feelings aren't just acknowledged, they're treated like the absolute truth. And we know that feelings are not facts. And here's what that looks like in real life. Discomfort is mistaken for danger. If a conversation makes you uneasy, it must be toxic. If a person challenges you, they must be unsafe. If a situation feels hard, it must be harming you. Boundaries are also being used as walls. Instead of learning how to have difficult conversations, we shut people out completely. Instead of addressing issues, we disappear and call it self preservation or I'm protecting my peace or my mental health. Struggle is now being labeled as a crisis. We've also blurred the lines between real hardship and normal life challenges. And instead of navigating stress, we call everything overwhelming. Instead of working through difficulties, we assume that we're just burnt out. We protect feelings over growth. And instead of asking, what is this teaching me? We ask, how do I make this stop? Instead of allowing emotions to come and go, we obsess over them like they define us. We've created a mindset where people believe that emotions should be protected instead of processed. Life isn't going to tiptoe around. The world isn't going to adjust itself to your emotional needs. I'm
all right, actually, I want to start out with Sergeant Garrett on this one because I'm really curious to what you think about what she said, and how do you feel or take that as a professional?
She hit on something that we often talk about in my spaces and our in the mental health world. So there's mental health, and then there's pop psychology. There's like popular psychology that is psychology for dummies, and the internet based DSM warriors who, everything is a diagnosis, everything is
Right.
trauma, everything, like she said, is anything that is discomforting or that brings discomfort is dangerous. And so rather than working to process and learning the skills to overcome, what we learn is actual avoidance. So we learn to avoid it. Another way of saying is we coddle. Think of like helicopter parenting or snowplow parenting, as they say, where we prevent our children from experiencing any hardships. Um, and think of that, how that translates to, and y'all guys have probably seen it, where a child will do something at school and the school will call the parent, and the parent goes straight to the school and is automatically in the school's business, in the teacher's business about like, why did you say this to my child and stuff like that. Um, That all of that goes down to pop psychology because pop psychology is meant to bring comfort. It is not meant to bring growth. True mental health and true therapy is meant to bring growth.
Okay. Yeah, when I first saw it, I kind of looked at it as I can see what you were saying, but anybody who's really doing the work is not doing what she's talking about. You know what I'm saying? And if you really doing the work and you learning, I've been in therapy. I know Coach has been in therapy. He just mentioned he's currently going through therapy, but I've been to therapy, and some of the greatest things that I ever learned in therapy was one that I'm in control of everything. Like I'm in control of myself, and nobody has ever made me do anything. I made decisions. I always talk about the split second that you make a decision, no matter what it is. If somebody, like you said earlier, steps on your shoes right before you punch them, you say, I'm going to punch them in your head, out loud, whatever. But whenever you do something, it's always that split second where you make the decision to do it. It's also that split second. It's also that time where you've been telling yourself for the last 6 months that if this happens, this is what I'm going to do. You know what I'm saying? And both of those things are still always your decision. One of the biggest things that, like I said, that I learned is that, I used to always blame my wife. Oh, my wife made me do that. You know what I'm saying? My wife made me do this. My wife made me do that. But then again, I realized that every time, the next time I thought about doing something, I realized right there, right before I did it, I decided to do it. So therefore, if I decided to do it, she didn't make me do anything. You know what I'm saying? And that's what a lot of people do. But even with the mental health, I think it becomes that thing where people who want the easy excuse, they don't want to do the real work. The easy excuse is, oh, you're not, you don't agree with me, so therefore you are I forgot the word, but like anytime, like the biggest one I hate is what is it, manipulator? You're a manipulator because I don't agree with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Or
And
everybody's a narcissist. Everybody's a
narcissist, that's
narcissist.
the word.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
word.
Everybody's a
That was the
narcissist.
word.
Huh?
That definitely was the word.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that
like
was a
the big
popular one.
word now.
Yeah.
Everybody's a narcissist. If I don't
Which is
agree with you,
wild.
I'm a narcissist. Or if I'm trying to help you do something the right way, you know what I'm saying? Now I'm controlling. And I'm not,
Yep.
and of course, this conversation is not directed. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna go ahead and put my wish I had a banner. I'm not talking about my wife, you know what I'm saying? But
Right.
I am talking about stuff in general, you know what I'm saying? Because I have heard that narcissist word a lot of times. Everybody's a narcissist. I'm like, yo, everybody you meet's a narcissist?
Yeah, that's
Then something's gotta be
nonsense.
wrong with you, you know. But
Yeah.
yeah, Ricky, what'd you think? What do you think about that?
I think for us, especially as men, man, it's accountability for ourselves. It's hard to take accountability for uh the energy we put out there. It's hard to take accountability to say that we're wrong about something, that I can't cry because I don't want to be accountable for my emotions. So I'm thinking that more so we as men and as humans, period, have to be accountable for our self actions and self emotions that we are faced with. You know, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to show yourself. Don't be afraid to stand in front of that mirror and say, look, I was, you know, terrified, or I was, happy, or I was sad about this, or whatever. Take accountability for your feelings.
No doubt.
That's where I'm at with it.
Yeah,
Okay.
man, I think it's I think the video had some great points in it. I think that one of the things that kind of resonated with me and should resonate with everybody emotion doesn't equal fact.
Yeah,
Right. I believe that that is truth. Right.
absolutely.
Because sometimes emotions can actually distort the facts. It distorts what you hear.
So you
Uh,
actually using those words you just described was called cognitive distortion. One of the most prevalent cognitive distortions is emotional reasoning. You just
correct.
described it. You just described it. Emotional
Yeah.
reasoning is a cognitive distortion.
Which is crazy. You know what I mean? When you really sit back and look at it, that's I think when she said that is what resonated to me, and I think it was a definitely a good video because you know as well as I know the life of social media and even you know what I'm saying life of podcasts. There's a lot of stuff out there that really just isn't fact.
Yeah,
Just in general, and I'm not talking about anything specific. I'm just talking about just stuff in general. There are a lot of people that have conversations that have no experience. There are a lot of people that give recommendations that haven't been through it. There's a lot of people that do a lot of things on social media for social media. You
yeah,
know what I mean? And so I mean, you got to really understand and learn about what you're listening to, who you're listening to. You gotta do your research, you know what I mean? Because society as a whole, once it gets popular, then it just spreads like wildfire and that it becomes excuses. So and we were fortunate enough we didn't grow up in that world, right? We grew up in more of a little bit more of a factual world. But I do understand why that needs to be addressed because a lot of the things that we're dealing with should have been addressed a little bit differently. But a lot of things that some of this generation is going to have to deal with when they become our age is going to be just flat out wild because just their thought process is going to be completely left field.
yeah, okay.
Mm.
Phil, you there? I don't know if Phil there. Ain't no one.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, sir. What do you think?
I'm gonna be real quick about this because I got a bounce at man. I
Okay.
mean, I believe it starts and ends with me, man. Excuses are just a lie with a bow tie. Man,
A lot with a bow tie. I like that. Go ahead.
we fixed it up to make it look good for what we needed to be, but at the end of the day, it's just a lie. So it starts and stops with you.
Absolutely. All right, I agree with it. Louisa just jumped in here and said therapy helps you see the truth, and at the end, it holds yourself accountable for what you need to be responsible for. And also now it's everybody's fault except for you. It's everybody's fault but yours. I think that what she's referring to. That's what she's referring to. Okay. And then the last one, yep, I was called a narcissist masculine because I defended myself verbally when I would have normally stay quiet and keep the peace. I had to laugh because social media created ridiculous experts. So, you know, hey, and I do see that as well. I try to like the one thing about on Dad Mentality, I try to talk about things that I'm actually doing, not talking about things that I'm not. You know what I'm saying? I'm working on my mental health. My 2 year journey. Anybody who's watched this show for the last 2 years can actually see my journey on the show. You know what I'm saying? From where I started to where I am now. You know what I'm saying? It's two totally different things. So you know, I'm definitely thankful for that. Now let's I appreciate y'all on this. Let's get ready to get into these terrible picks real quick, and then we can
B, I'm gonna have to give her a bounce, bro.
all right, good. All right, no problem. Cause you a Cowboys fan, right?
Got hard.
All right,
Go ahead
yeah.
and kick them out
Now
now.
I understand why you leaving. Yeah, I
Yeah,
would
go ahead
leave
and kick
too.
them out now.
You know what I'm
He,
saying? You
he's
know,
still
I
Man,
understand.
representing.
Ricky gonna
Yeah.
hold
As soon
Ricky
as we
gonna hold the
start,
fort down
we,
for me.
we get
Ricky,
ready to talk football,
Ricky,
and you
hold the
run
fort
on out
down,
of
boy.
here. Yeah, you know,
He's
but
still
it's all right.
represented. Just I want you to know that he's still represented.
All
There
right,
you
that's
go.
Mm.
yeah. Two people who make bad decisions in their life. I got you.
I
All
get it.
right,
That's why they, you got a name like Commanders.
that's true.
That's a
I
bad
can't say
decision.
that. You know what I'm saying? Jerry Jones is the owner, still bad decision too. But we can keep it moving. Let's go ahead and get into. Let's go ahead and get into this, coach. What's our games for this week?
Well, I mean, well, we're gonna start off with my Super Bowl bound Colts 2-0, facing the Titans this weekend at 1 o'clock, and I'm actually going to this game in Tennessee. So, who y'all got there?
All right, so the Colts versus the Titans. The Colts are the favorite by 3.5 points. It's at the Texans, fellas. So
It's
we'll
at
go
the
ahead
Titans. It's in
and I mean
Tennessee.
at Titans. Sorry, I mean to
Yeah.
say Texas.
You
But,
said Tennessee.
yeah, the Titans versus the Colts. And Ricky, we'll go ahead and start with you. Who you got?
I'm taking Tennessee. I'm taking the
All right.
Titans. I'm taking the Titans because they just came off a heartbreaker, you know. So I figure they're gonna try to make amends for that. And I really think that the coach is feeling himself right now with that bum quarterback they got.
All right, Sergeant Garrett, where you at? I already know coach's pick, so Sergeant Garrett, where you
I
at?
can't pick this one.
Yeah,
So
I actually was
I'll
gonna
pick.
go with the Colts because they got a fresh win, and once you get a taste of winning, quarterbacks gonna be like, all right, he's gonna be hungry for some more, especially a road win. So got a little something to prove.
All right. I'm going with the Titans just because I want Coach to have a miserable time when he goes out there because I got to wear this hat this week. So I'm going with the Titans. But you got a kid on both teams, right?
Yeah, I can't. I got a kid on both teams. So I can't actually pick that game anyway. So y'all pick whoever you want to pick.
Well, in that case, since you got a kid on the team, nah, but I'm gonna go. Nah, you know what, Ricky, a Cowboys fan, I can't go with his pick. I'm switching back. Sorry, it's gonna be the Colts. It's going to be the Colts. I can't respect this pick. I'm sorry. I was going to until I remembered he was a Cowboys fan, and then that told me that nah, I can't pick it. Louisa, who you picking? Put it in the comments, Louisa, since you've been participating this whole time. Who you picking between those two? All right, what's the next game, Coach?
Hold on 1 second, I'm trying. The Raiders at the Commanders, of course.
All right, Raiders at the Commanders. Commanders are a 3-point favorite. It's at home.
Now that's a joke. I thought Phil was the comedian.
All right, we see Ricky. We already know Ricky's pick. So
you definitely already know that.
Let's go ahead and talk to our college-educated therapist over here. I think he makes smart decisions, but we'll see. Raiders versus the Commanders playing at home after a tough loss they just had to Green Bay. And,
yeah, that was a tough loss. I'm gonna go with the Commanders though, because again, something to prove.
All right. And since it's my money, I'm gonna go ahead and put the Commanders because I wasn't going to put no Raiders no matter what. So we're gonna go ahead and go Commanders. Coach, what's next?
The Falcons at the Panthers. Of course, I ain't gonna let Sergeant Garrett get out of this one.
Oh no, you know I'm gonna delusionally pick the Panthers.
All right, we got the Falcons versus the Panthers. The Falcons are predicted to win by 4.5 points.
And they will.
Look, ain't no position better to play than being the underdog because you got nothing to lose. So
all right, Coach.
That's too easy of a pick.
Coach, who you picking, Coach?
I'm picking the Falcons. I'm sorry.
Good. Because I wasn't gonna pick the Panthers no matter what. So
yeah,
go ahead.
Just know when they win, I'm gonna text you.
The next game.
I know you will.
The next game we got is, and this is probably the toughest one of the week. The Rams are at the Eagles.
All right. So the Rams at the Eagles. The Eagles, they're playing at home, so therefore the Eagles are the favorites by 3.5 points. Aren't both teams undefeated? The Rams, have they lost? They haven't lost, have they?
Yeah, they haven't.
Yeah, both teams are undefeated. So what we got here? Let's go with Well, the Cowboys fan, who you gonna pick?
I'm going with the Eagles, unfortunately, because I just think they're stronger. I don't think the Rams strong enough
All right.
to hold them back. I don't think their defense that tight.
Okay. Sergeant Garrett, who you with?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Eagles. They seem like they firing on all cylinders, like they ready to go to the Super Bowl again.
Okay. Coach.
The Rams.
I know it. I knew it.
You know I'm
Don't
picking
worry
the
about it.
Rams.
But it's all right. It's still gonna be the Eagles. All right. This one I actually got a decent chance of winning because they ain't giving me good money on my payout.
Oh, I got the last one, and I want
Oh,
to
it's
see if
still one more?
Rodney.
Oh, my bad.
Yep,
I only did 4 so far. Okay, my bad.
I got the last one. I want to see what Rodney gonna do. The
I'm listening.
Cowboys at the Bears.
Well, we already know what Ricky's pick is going to be. So, unless you're going to tell me something different, Ricky, is it Cowboys versus the Bears? Who you picking? And this is a pick 'em.
Can't hear you.
I said the Cowboys versus the Bears. Who you picking? This one is a pick 'em.
Oh, that's easy. You should know who I'm picking. That's a given.
All right, the Bears.
I'm
Good
a
job.
cowboy.
All right, so Cowboys. All right, Ricky has shown that he still makes bad decisions. But go ahead, Sergeant Garrett. Let's
I'm gonna go
who
with the
you going
Bears.
with?
I'm gonna go with the Bears.
All right, Sergeant Garrett's going with the Bears. Coach
Bears.
going with the
I
Bears.
like all them cowboy haters.
And you know, God doggone well, there was no way I was going to pick the Cowboys.
I like all them cowboy haters.
It's all good, man. If they win, then I lose my money again. So here we go. All right. So now that put me at get out of here. That didn't change my bet at all. Oh yeah, it did. Okay. So that changed my bet. Now I'm making money. No wonder. I was trying to figure that out. I was like, dang, I'm only gonna make $90 off of it. But anyway, $20 to get you 188. I will post my picks on the page if anybody wants to jump in there and get in there. Oh, I'm sorry. Louisa gave her picks. So Louisa said the Colts on the first one. And then she said she picking the Ravens. I don't know why. But then it was the Falcons, the Eagles, and then she said the Bears. So I think she agreed with us on most of the picks. So hopefully I got a chance to actually win some money this week. But my bet is going in, and we'll talk about it next week. So, hey, Ricky, I want to thank you for joining us on Streetline, brother. And I promise you that this
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Sure. And if I may, I'd like to give out my website.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's streetlinedc.org. Streetlinedc .com, either one. Streetlinedc.org or streetlinedc.org. .com.
And if people want to help out or call, they can reach out to both of those numbers to do that, or both of those websites.
If you would like to donate, then you can go to the website. The account is built strictly for the Streetline on the website, so you can go to the website and donate. Again, it's streetlinedc.org or streetlinedc.com. And the toll-free number that is our hotline. So you can come on in, speak about what you like to speak about at any time.
All right. Well, we appreciate you, Ricky, for joining us, man. And I'm definitely going to be pushing Streetline on the episodes of Here Dad Mentality. Okay, sir?
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
No problem. And Sergeant Garrett, do you want to tell people where they can reach you, or you got anything you got a book or anything you want to push yet?
Oh man, not yet. So still over at Avenues Recovery. If plug if you are struggling with addiction and you need some help, stop on through. Let us help you get what you need. Gonna be there, helping out folks, still doing the mission. Book still's in the works. That's all I'm gonna say because I don't want too much smoke from it. Yeah, but that's about it though. To Ricky though, I do have clients that come from the DC area, so I will be recommending, your service to them if they return back. So just want to let you know that.
I don't know if he can hear you. He
Yeah,
got yeah.
I was saying I do have clients who come from the DC area, so I'm definitely gonna be pushing your services to them.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, no
Okay.
problem.
Definitely
There
appreciate
you
that.
go. Ricky having an old man moment right now. The way he got his
No, it's
head to
hard.
the phone, man.
I don't know if it's
Put
my
us on
phone,
speaker,
but
man.
the sound has went down on it. So I had to put my ear up to it.
All right. Well, we about to end the show, brother. So we'll go ahead and put you out of your misery. Well,
Oh, good.
you'll still
Hey,
be in
look, I
misery as
appreciate
long as you.
everybody. So thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate you allowing me to present Street Line to you guys.
No problem. And coach, and we'll see y'all next week. Dad mentality. Thank y'all for hanging out with us. God bless. Good night.
All right.
Later.
All right.